Hey everyone, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast Network. Looking forward to today's show because my boy Spice Adams is going to join us in the Hang Around Ron Johnson segment and the Daily 3. Stick around for that. He has a great story about projectile vomit in the middle of traffic. I have no idea what that's about, but stay tuned for that. And also, we got to talk about the Gophers. Mo Ibrahim, PJ Fleck told us on the PJ Fleck Show, Mo Ibrahim is back. But there's something about this Illinois versus Gophers game that is going to be very important that not a lot of people are realizing between these two teams. Stay tuned for that. Coming up next on the Ron Johnson Show.
On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. One-of-a-kind opinions, big-name guests, the teams you care about every day. It's the Ron Johnson Show, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Ron Johnson Show, and I am your host, Ron Johnson. Before we jump into the show, remember, you can now find Locked On Sports Minnesota on Amazon Fire and Roku. Download the Locked On Sports Minnesota app to get all your favorite shows. Well, as I stated in the open, on today's show, we're going to talk about PJ Fleck and the PJ Fleck Show and the comments he made. As I bring Sam Ekstrom into the show, my producer, Sam, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the PJ Fleck Show, but we had him on yesterday. And there's the thing about college football. There are no injury reports. You can lie through your teeth about players, and you can put it out there so the other team has to prepare. And this is one thing I'll say. PJ Fleck was like, nope, Mo's back at practice. He actually said Mo, if he had 24 to 48 more hours to play that game. So meaning if it had been a night game maybe even, or a Monday night football game for the Gophers versus Purdue, Mo would have played. He said Mo went through warmups. Mo was out there trying to go. The medical staff said, you know what? It's not worth it because of who you are, where you're going to fall with this draft class, and why risk it when it's a simple injury that can heal quick. It's just, a little lower leg injury. But if you go back out there and tweak it, then you're setting yourself back. So they say, you know what, sit out another week, miss this game, rest it for Monday, Tuesday, and then come back to practice Wednesday, which he did. And PJ Fleck said Mo was out there. Came back for Tuesday's practice. Mo was out there Tuesday, and he said, man, the energy, the excitement around the team. And there's the thing, Sam, I'll bring up when you talk about Gophers versus Illinois. One, when this game was on the calendar, everybody circled Gophers win this one. The tough games we talked about were Michigan State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Iowa. Well, that's why I love college football, because it is now, throw that all away. Michigan State wasn't easy. Purdue became the hard game, and now Illinois. Now, Penn State's still going to be a tough one, 6:30 p.m. kickoff on ABC, but Illinois, Brett Bielema. This is going to be a tough game for the Gophers for this reason. Illinois now has the number one defense in the Big Ten. They've only allowed 3 touchdowns, and they've given up 9 field goals. Now, who's right behind them? The Gophers. So you saw the Iowa-Illinois game, all field goals. I think it was like 6-9 or something stupid, 12-9. It was a dumb score. Yeah. PJ Fleck kind of made a point about that. He said, you know what? It's going to be another one of those type of games. Whoever doesn't give up quicker, meaning both teams are going to run the ball. Both teams want to grind it out. Both teams want to set you up with a play action and try to get a big play or an explosive. Well, who's going to bend first? Who's going to break first of these two teams? And that's going to be the team that comes out with a win. I think the Gophers losing to Purdue early might have actually helped. It might actually knock them back to reality. Like, you know what? We can't go into these games thinking just because we're the favorite, because Vegas has us winning, because the fans and the experts have us winning, that we're going to win these games. I think now it's a wake-up call to walk into Illinois Stadium and say, this is a good team. Like, they took Iowa down, and now they're trying to come after us. They took Wisconsin down. Like, Illinois is a good team. Illinois is technically the best team right now. Just right now. They're the best team in the West. So when you think about that with Illinois and what the Gophers need to do, one, you beat Illinois, you get a loss somewhere else from some other teams, you're back in the Big Ten championship. Like I said that before, it's not over. You still can beat Iowa because they don't look good, and you still can beat Wisconsin, even though Paul Chris is gone and they've changed it. But Sam, I'll say this. If Mo Ibrahim doesn't play, how do you feel about this Illinois-Minnesota game?
If he doesn't play.
If he doesn't play, because again, coaches can say whatever they want. Like, because PJ Fleck, tongue in cheek, kind of said it as well. He said, I forgot what game they were playing, but he was like, yeah, he's talked about this guy playing all week, and they had no something of play, like they had no indication he ever was going to play, but the coach kept saying he's going to play all week. But what do you think about that?
Well, Illinois stops the run. Even if Mo does play, I'm worried about Illinois stopping the run. And Illinois is going to be charged up. They're top 25 now, and that is a rare spot for Illinois to be. Who was it? Juice Williams back in the day? Like, they haven't been this good since Juice Williams. And Rashard Mendenhall, I want to say. Like, those were kind of their stars
Aurelius
back
Ben
then.
Was the receiver.
Aurelius Ben, yes. But this is new territory for Illinois, and they stopped the run. Like, not only is their defense just good in general, but their run defense in particular is really good. They've only allowed more than 100 yards on the ground once, and that was in a huge win against Wyoming, so it's not like it really hurt them that badly. They're allowing 2.3 yards per carry, Ron. That's crazy. And what burnt the Gophers against Purdue? Their inability to run the football without Mo. And that's something that in the past I think this team has actually excelled at, is finding a way to get their number 2, 3, and 4 running backs to be successful. Didn't happen against Purdue. So if Mo doesn't play, then I am worried. Then it's really on the offensive line to create big holes, to set the tone, be the point of attack on all those run plays. Because when the Gophers get outside their identity and they can't run the football, that's when they get a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and when you look at this defense, because you brought it up, Illinois' defense, passing, they've only given up 160 yards in the air per game. You look at Minnesota's giving up 140. Neither of these teams are pass heavy, but Daniel Jackson has been a bright spot in the down of Chris Autman-Bell. And we asked PJ Fleck this yesterday on the PJ Fleck show. Like, it seems like from Tyler Johnson to Rashad Bateman to Chris Autman-Bell and now Daniel Jackson, year after year, PJ Fleck has found a way to kind of create a kid, to get a kid in this offense to be really good when it comes to the receiving game. Matt Simon, hats off to Matt Simon, offensive coordinator or pass game coordinator and receivers coach. He's doing a great job of mentoring these receivers and really getting them going. Local hometown kid, played high school football at Farmington High School, was a receiver. So he's doing a great job. Him and PJ Fleck both. PJ was a receiver. So, of course, the receivers probably are going to be one of his bread and butters that he's going to recruit and look at and try to grow. And when you look at Daniel Jackson, I think that's the key to this Illinois game as well. Daniel Jackson has to have one of those games. Like, we know what those type of games are. Like that game where you're like, man, this Daniel Jackson kid is good. You look at Dalen Wright. Dalen Wright has to wake up. He has not woken up at all this year. Like it's been the Daniel Jackson show. Dalen Wright hasn't done much. Brevin Spanford in the pass game as well. PJ Fleck mentioned drop balls. I think that's the key in Purdue. You had a lot of drop balls. Tanner Morgan did throw 3 picks, but you had a lot of drop balls. The thing we're going to have to keep an eye on too with Illinois, they don't show you anything. Like that was the sneaky kind of intel from PJ. They don't show you anything pre-snap. Like they're going to stand still pretty much, and they're trying their best not to give it away. They're going to disguise coverage. They're going to disguise the blitzes. They're going to disguise the rushes. Like they don't really move a ton. He said they kind of line up and make it look real basic, and then they do all this crazy moving around stuff. And so that's going to be the key. But Tyler Nubin, he was our guest on the PJ Fleck show, and, former or current safety. I love what he said. Tyler Nubin said, you know what? When I step on that field, my goal is to ignite a fire in my team, under my teammates' butts. Like I want to be infectious, but I want to do it by example, not by voice. He doesn't like when you hear him on the PJ Fleck show, if you go back and watch that, you can stream it. It's on now. He doesn't say much. Like he's really quiet, really funny, but quiet. Like he's not a talker. But the one thing he does do, he says, he's like, man, I'm going to be out there by example. I'm going to hit somebody. I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to talk. I'm going to make sure my teammates know, like if we're riding, you riding with me. I think that's going to be the key. You got to walk into Illinois and punch them in the mouth and keep their fans quiet. If they can early come out and show Brett Bielema, this is not a Gophers team he's ever seen before, a caliber of player he's ever seen before with the Gophers. This is going to be a good game. This is going to feel like one of those battles of back in the day, like when Brandon Lloyd was there, when Illinois was good. Like you said, Juice Williams, like they were good. And that was one of those games where you're like, man, this Illinois team is good. Like it was like everybody was doing squeeze the juice. I think Brewster was Brewster was the coach. It was the whole squeeze the juice thing. Brewster clearly was not the answer. But when you look at this game, Sam, in my mind, I think this is one the Gophers can win. I think this is a good thing that everybody is not high on the Gophers right now, because now they can go back to being the hunter and not the hunted. Being the hunted, you have extra. You have to kill and make sure you're not killed. But when you're the hunter, you're just chilling. You're waiting in the weeds. You're like Spice Adams after a dive into the bushes. You're chilling. You're just looking around like, I'll get up when I'm ready. I'll shoot when I'm ready. When I got you in my sights, then I'll take the shot. And I think that's where the Gophers are right now. You beat Illinois, the whole narrative changes back. Gophers are now a favorite to win the West. They, of course, have to beat Iowa, Wisconsin, but it's still there for the taking, and then they have to go play Ohio State, unless Michigan finds a way to knock Ohio State off and Michigan ends up in the playoff, or not the playoff, but the Big Ten championship like they were last year. So it can happen. Never forget, Harbaugh finds a way. We keep saying it's going to be Minnesota, Ohio State, or whoever versus Ohio State. It could be Michigan. Like, never write Michigan off, because Harbaugh loves to beat up on Ohio State and do whatever he has to do it. And they have the team this year. Blake Corum is really good. He's a really good running back. And I think they found their quarterback. Like, that's been Harbaugh's issue. He hasn't had a quarterback he trusts. It looks like they have a guy they trust now. Ronnie Bell is healthy. Like, they're looking really good. But the Gophers, before they get to Michigan or Ohio State, like PJ Fleck says, this is the 0-0 Illinois championship season. And they got to get it done. They have to. There's no question about it. But we got Spice Adams coming up in the Hanging with Ron Johnson segment. And remember, Locked On Sports Minnesota gives you endless Vikings talk with local experts. Get your daily 30-minute dose of sports with KARE 11's sports director, Reggie Wilson, going back and forth with his co-host, Luke Inman. It's fast, it's fun, it's superior sports talk. It's your daily Minnesota sports show.
We've got some big news at betonline.net to report. That's your number one source for all sports wagering information. Gophers, Illinois, first of all, -6.5. The Gophers are favored in Champaign. Very tiny over-under, 39.5. So they're expecting like a 23-17 Gophers win. Minnesota fans would take that for sure. Now, some news in that Vikings-Dolphins game. Currently off the board. Vikings were favored by 3. Then there was some thought that maybe Tua or Teddy would play. They took it off the board. Recent reports indicating that Skylar Thompson, the third-string quarterback, will start. So I would expect to see that back on the board soon, maybe with a new line. So check that out at betonline.net. See how much the Vikings are favored by. It's your number one source for all sports wagering info, not just NFL or college football, but MLB playoffs, UFC, boxing, golf, all of the above. BetOnline.net. Use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Now it's time for the part of the Ron Johnson show I love, and this is a fan favorite, of mine and the world, of course. Spice Adams, my best friend, had a great time, for the Hall of Fame ceremony. Spice surprised me, didn't know he was coming, brought my nephew up. My best friend, Jeff McCall, came up as well. I want to thank Spice Adams for joining me in the Ron Johnson show. Hanging with Ron Johnson segment. Spice, let's jump out there, man. Like, your son, and I got a text from Justin Guard, who was the host of the Hall of Fame show. He still is laughing at how you just do not believe anything your son says. You've had injuries in football. Your son recently suffered an injury in football. Nothing too serious, but kind of like a blood clot in his arm, not allowing him to fully extend. You're gonna have to let it go away. But you gave him absolute hell for like trying to jump over a guy, and then you showed us like the clip by clip of like, yeah, it didn't happen the way he thought it was gonna happen. What is that like, man, being a dad, having to deal with a son now playing football? And why do you give him so much crap, man? Like,
man, because I try to tell him and explain things to him, and it's like he doesn't believe it until it actually happens. And it's like, dude, this is what I'm trying to get you away from. But you don't understand it until it actually happens. I'm like, Anthony, if you put your hand in the fire, you're going to burn yourself. And he's like, no, I won't. I'll be careful. And he puts his hand in, and he's like, oh, this is what you were talking about. I'm like, yeah, man. The play, the guy that was trying to tackle him didn't even lower his shoulder, like he was standing straight up. How can you think you're gonna jump over somebody? You can't even dunk a basketball yet, but you think you can just jump over somebody who's standing there? Like I don't get him sometimes. He has a beautiful mind, I will tell him that.
But you never got a chance to touch the football. Like at your age, when you were his age, you were a striper. Like you weren't allowed to run the football. You couldn't catch.
Yeah.
So you just had to play lineman. So how can you even try to
relax? I could catch.
How can you try to explain to a kid how to play tight end and you were the furthest thing from it? You actually were the center and the guard. Like you were the furthest thing from the tight end. Like
Dude,
you can't you have no idea what's going through a tight end's mind.
I'm a football player, man. You think when it was time to start playing football, they just said line up at lineman and that's it? Dude, I used to go to parks and play running back and play tight. I played every position at the parks. You know that. You know how it was in Detroit. Everybody was a running back. Everybody was a quarterback, a wide receiver. We played two-hand touch. We tackled. We played sideline pop. Like all of that stuff, man. You know how it was in Detroit. Everybody a superstar. Every block you go to, every different neighborhood is always like, you got to see so-and-so. So-and-so, little Pookie, he's nice. He's nice over here, but you go over 2 blocks over, you got to play Ray Ray.
Oh, man.
You know how it is.
Well, talking about quarterback, running back, you just brought it up, tight end, receiver. Kind of transition into the Bears. Your hometown team. You're on Inside the Bears with Lawrence Screendon, Spice Adams. Explain to us right now from a insider standpoint, but then also you're around the fans. You're on Twitter, so you get the fan tweets. How do the fans feel about the Matt Eberflus kind of experiment so far?
Well, it's different than what it was last year. And, I like what I saw out of them playing the Vikings. They could have gave up. They could have quit. Last year, I think the Vikings probably would have blew us out. With the squad they have now, the way they're playing now, they probably would have blew us out. But we saw a lot of fight in the game. And I was impressed with the second half of Justin Fields. We saw some things that we are hopeful for in the future that we have been waiting to see for a while now. And a lot of the fans here really appreciate that. And but hats off to you guys. The Vikings are looking very good right now. Very good right now. They're sitting pretty. They already beat Green Bay, beat the Bears. I think it's going to be tough with the Lions because I think the Lions scored the most points in all the NFL. It's just their defense. But as far as Chicago is concerned, we saw a lot. We saw a lot of improvement out of Justin Fields playing against the Vikings. So if he can continue to have the success that he had in the second half with you guys, I think we could beat Washington, and we can beat the teams we're supposed to beat. It's not looking good this year, but it's not looking terribly bad. They play harder under Eberflus. I will say that.
Okay. So Dan Campbell type of result from the Bears so far. So when you look at Justin Fields, though, I mean, at Ohio State, he was good. I mean, obviously, he's first-round pick, really good. C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, really good. First-round pick, allegedly, or will be, top quarterback taken, one of them. When you think about the 471 pass yards before this Vikings game, which was last in the NFL, what is it about Justin Fields? Because it happened last year, too. It has not looked good. So, but Jalen Hurts is successful. Is it going to be an offensive coordinator that needs to just redesign his offense to fit Justin Fields and stop trying to get Justin Fields to fit in their offense?
I don't think so. I think it's just like a comfort level type deal. It's like he has to get more comfortable in the pocket and understand the timing of things, because now it's almost as if he's a rookie all over again. Like you got a new offensive coordinator coming in, you got a new quarterback coach, and you have new terminology. When he was a rookie last year, he had to learn everything and had to learn the terminology and learn how to command the huddle because everything was new to him. And now you go into your second year and you have to do it all over again. It may be the same plays that you ran last year, but it has a different terminology. So he has to learn that on the fly, and it's tough. And you still have to gel with your wide receivers, and it's a difficult task. But I like to give quarterbacks 3 years in the system. He's only been in this system now for a couple of months, and last game was you could see that he's trying to get comfortable, and all these things are going to take time. Everybody wants to win like right now, today, and that's understandable. But at the same time, you still have to gel together. I mean, look at the Raiders. The Raiders,
Yeah.
Derek Carr, Devontae. I mean, come on, man. They got a squad, but you still got to play together. I mean, even remember the Lakers. They went and got Gary Payton. They went and got Karl Malone. But they didn't gel together. So it's just gonna take some time.
But them dudes was like 60 though. At that point, they wasn't like Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh. They was like 60. Yeah. Gary Payton, Karl Malone. Yeah, I remember that. I was hoping they could have got one because Gary Payton deserves a ring.
They went to the finals though.
Yeah, they did, but they just was old. They was old. That's like that's like when
they look like you.
The
they look
70s,
like you in the face right
the 19. When the 1970s team comes back and it tries to play,
are you gonna die that at some point? Are you gonna die that?
Man, you're a hater. No, man, I'm mature. This is maturity. When I speak to the young, I got a chance to talk to Tyler Newman yesterday. Go for safety. See, he was listening to everything I was saying because he's like, man, this dude look old.
How'd that make you feel?
Like, he knows some things. It felt good. Like, I'm glad to be the wise one. Like, I remember growing up, and you know this in Detroit, we've seen some old heads try to talk to us, and we be like, hey, man, get away from me with that crap. Like, I don't know what you talk about in the 691s, in the 224s, in the 367. Like, get over there with that. Like, what are you trying to talk to me about, man? I am not about to Tom Cruise's thing and join Scientology. Like, go ahead on, man. Go ahead on. Like he was listening to me. He asked for my phone number. He's like, man, can I get your number, man? Because I need you right now. I'm like, I got you, bro. I got you. So I feel good. But hey, I'm not gonna lie. If I got a hot date with the wife, I might a little bit, but no, I like the grays. I got a commercial shoot. I might have a commercial shoot. I gotta get it darker for the commercial shoot because they need somebody to be 34, not 42. So, I gotta darken it up for the commercial. Don't hate. So two quick ones before we get to the Daily 3. One, because I know I'm gonna tweet at her about this one. Lauren Screendon, you work with her. Very nice young lady, it seems like. I saw her TikTok in the rain, drinking wine and spilling it all over herself. One, how is it like working with Lauren, and how do you rate her TikTok game right now?
Her TikTok game is, I want to say, it's up to date. She knows what's going on. She knows the trends that are out here. And, she keeps it professional. She keeps it a buck. I will say that. But it's been great working with her. We've been working together now for 7 years. And she's the ultimate professional. She's funny. Even when she's not trying to be. That's when I think she's the funniest, when she's not trying to be. And we had the best segment we did was the one chip challenge. It was so funny, man. Oh man, she bit into that chip and she was like, "Oh, this isn't bad." Next thing you know, she was red. And I gave her like a smoothie and she was sipping it, whatever, But what she didn't tell me is when she left, she got into some traffic and she had to open up the door and just throw up over the sideway. Like it was bad, man. Just the story that she was telling me about it like afterwards. But when she actually took the chip, she was acting like a straight up G. Like, oh, this is cool. It was pretty hot, but I'd be able to manage. But she left, she like projectile. So I always remind her of that every time I see her. I say, "Hey, Lauren." I'm gonna send you the
Oh,
video,
man.
man, when she was drinking. I'm gonna send you the video when she was drinking the smoothie. It's hilarious, man.
So speaking of videos and social media, one last one before we jump into the Daily 3 with Spice. You do Spice reactions after the Bears games. You've
Oh,
done some Penn State ones as well. By the way, Penn State plays Minnesota 6:30 p.m. ABC next week. The
Whiteout.
Whiteout, looking forward to that. I think Kirk Herbstreit's going to be there probably because it's on ABC. So pretty sure game day is going to show up. So they might call Spice to come do the picks. And just don't get out there like my man from The Hangover talking about would he give a shout out to Ho, you complete me Ho Tran. Like it was like that's her name. Relax. That's her. Have you seen that one with Desmond Howard?
Yes.
Oh my God,
Yes.
that is the funniest thing ever. But talking about the Spice reactions, man, like explain. I get the first three in your Spice reactions from this Vikings game, but what is the last one? Like in the fourth quarter, and you see it here. You got first quarter, you super confused. Second quarter, you're coming to give your speech to the team. And you're trying to get the team going, and I think they had it. Third quarter, okay, Justin Fields, Vikings is stalling a little bit. By the way, the Vikings have one of the worst offenses in the third quarter so far this season, but they've found a way to get it done in the fourth. And in the fourth quarter, man, like explain it. Like, what is this? What are you doing right there? Like, what is that?
Just got to jump in a bush somewhere, man. I mean, what's there to explain, man? Fourth quarter, we self-implode, and you just want to go run somewhere and just jump behind some bushes. You remember the meme with Homer Simpson just backing up?
Okay, I got it. So you're just going to hide. Thing. You're going to hide. Okay. I was like, what is that? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. What is that? What is that fourth quarter? What is
But was
that?
there a pad? Did you put a pad back there or something to land on in the bushes, or you just landed on the ground?
Ron, this was what you call a bad idea. I should not have done this. I like to call myself a fat stunt man, but it's different in the 40s. In my head, thinking about doing this in my 20s and my 30s, I'd have been cool. But 40s, I hurt my back doing that, Ron. I hurt my back. This is gonna be completely honest. It hurt pretty bad to do that, but story in the life of being me, man.
Why did you get a gymnastics mat or something? Like that's what stunt dudes do, even if they are fat. Fat stunt people use mats. Like, what were you thinking?
Ron, you've known me for 30 plus years.
True.
I don't think these things all the way through. I never think with the end in mind. I just go. That's it. I just go. I don't think. It's like football. I don't think. You just go and react. I'm like, oh, this would be funny. Let me run and jump into this bush. And then when I landed, I was like, oh, that was it. You should see. I had the camera on a tripod. You should see how long it took me to go get the camera. The camera was taping for another 10 to 15 minutes. I'm like, I got no more memory left.
Oh, man.
I wish I had that film of how long it took me to get up out of those bushes to go and get the phone off of the tripod. It took a long time. And then I had those boots on, those rain boots.
I was about to say the Jodeci boots, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was like,
well, let's jump into this Daily 3, man. Let's jump into this, man. We got 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Spice going to take a minute, something. I'm going to take a minute, something. Sam's going to try to stump us. But before we do, check out our Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast on YouTube. Follow every Twins, Vikings, Wild, or Wolves game. Our Locked On team hosts are broadcasting live with team insiders. Never miss a podcast by subscribing to Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube. And remember, the Amazon Fire and the Roku apps now have an app. The Locked On Sports Minnesota app. Please download it. You can watch all the videos. You can see Spice Adams jump into the bushes. Do whatever you want. But it's time for Sam to take over.
Well, I got to apologize to Spice, first of all, because Spice, I send a Daily 3 to a new guest every single day, and I just copy-paste it in, and then I change the questions. Well, I sent you the questions that we sent to our guest yesterday. So you got questions about the Wild and the Timberwolves. I'm not going to ask you about those. I apologize.
Okay.
Ron, I think you got the correct questions.
I was ready either way.
You must have been super confused. But Spice, I wanted to ask you about the Bears. I wanted your take. What is the next season? And maybe it's this season. When is the next season that you think the Chicago Bears will be in the playoffs?
Great question there, Sam. I'm going to say I don't know the answer to that question, Sam, okay? I don't know. I thought it was going to be this year. I thought it was going to be last year. I thought it was going to be the year before that. And I've been wrong every single time. So since I've been wrong, I'm going to say next year.
Why not?
I mean, what difference does it make? I'm tired. We need to win right now.
If the Bears do make the playoffs, so the bonus question before I give my answer. If the Bears make the playoffs next year, are you going to do the stomach out dance to get the game going on the sidelines?
Listen, Ron, the mascot here is Staley. If we make the playoffs next year, there are going to be two mascots. And you know how I get down. When we was in high school, I got the Spirit Award. I was basically the mascot for our high school. And everything continues through college, through the pros, through now me being retired. You already know how I get down. If we make the playoffs next year, I'm not keeping it a secret. Everybody gonna know. Everybody gonna see me. I'm gonna have face paint on. Man. It is gonna go down.
I don't know if we're ready for that one, but I can't wait for it though. So let me give the fans a little. I'm gonna help the Bears fans out here. So this is the thing about the playoffs right now. 7 teams make it. Who knows if the NFL gets even more greedy, like college football, which I hope they do, and put 8 teams in the playoffs and just say, screw it. Let's just go a full 16 teams, make the playoffs. Half the league goes home. I like that idea. If that happens, I'd say the Bears will be in there because I think they're on the precipice of being in it. So this is the thing.
Sure.
Yeah, you like that, right? You look at the Eagles, the Cowboys. I don't see them falling off in the next year or two. And so I'm looking just at the NFC. You got the 49ers. I think they're going to get Trey Lance back. They'll be fine. They'll still have the run game. Rams, I don't know, because when Matthew Stafford throws it in, who knows? You got the Vikings and the Packers. Bucks are going to fall off. When Tom Brady's done, the Bucks are going to fall off. The Saints and the Falcons and the Panthers. So that division in the NFC South right now without the Bucks, they're looking like the NFC East a few years ago when everybody sucked in the NFC East. So if the NFC South becomes the new trash of the NFC, I think the Bears have a chance, but I think like in 2 years, like when Tom Brady walks away finally at the ripe old age of 44, after Giselle says, hey, look, if you really want this, you got to walk away now. Because everybody knows people threaten and they don't ever really go. Like she's going to get one last shot and then like Tom Cruise, he's going to ride off and go get his girl and make it all right. And Antonio Brown's going to.
Bro, can never just make a point and just make that point. You always got to put some mess behind it.
So I say 2 years, but it's got to be Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady gone from their teams. And I think the Bears have a chance to get in the playoffs as a wild card. So that's 3 teams from the NFC North. Or because also remember, the Packers are going to lose Aaron Rodgers. So I think it could become a Vikings, Bears, NFC North for a while. So about 2-3 years when Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Matthew Stafford walk away.
So when all the quarterbacks are gone, that'll open up. It'll part the Red Sea for the Bears.
Ron's a hater.
He calls me that too. Last 2 questions I want to talk about NFL overachievers and underachievers. So let's start with the overachievers. Spice, which team has surprised you most in the NFL in an overachieving sense so far?
The Eagles, for sure. Especially after the years, just the whole NFC has had. I mean, the NFC East has had. So I would say, and And then the Giants. I would say the Giants more so than the Eagles because, I mean, goodness, they are balling right now, man. You can't even hate on them. And even when Daniel Jones went down, they went to Wildcat. Like, they just make the adjustments right now, man. The defense is doing good. They're hitting on all cylinders right now. So, so I would definitely say the Giants and the Eagles for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to stick in that realm. I was going to say the Giants at 4-1. When you watch that Packers game, you look at Saquon Barkley. I agree with what Spice is saying. Them being able to do things like that, like, you know what? We're going to run the ball. Stop it. Like that right there shows that they are like Serrano out there with the big balls. And they're like, look, we put them in the backfield. Stop them. Like, you figure this out. And I'm pretty sure at some point there's going to be a twist when they play the Vikings. Probably they're going to, Christmas Eve, they're going to roll out the Wildcat with a pass from Saquon. Because I've seen him throw the ball at Penn State. So I'm going to make sure I have to remind Harrison Smith of that. Like, the boy can throw. So don't run up thinking you need to help because he can throw. But I'm also going to say the Jets, Jets. Like, at 3-2, it seems like, I mean, they're right behind the Bills. They're ahead of the Dolphins because of Tua. The Patriots aren't doing well in that division. Like, I get it. Zach Wilson is a first rounder. They got Sauce Gardner. They got all these picks, and they should be good. But I still don't think people believed in the Jets. And yes, they beat a Dolphins team that was hurt, and they put somebody out there named Skylar Thompson to play quarterback. Until Jamie Foxx suits up, Miami has no shot. Like, they need Willie Beeman. But the fact that the Jets are where they are, which means if they find a sneaky way to knock off one of these teams and the Bills take a drop, the Jets become the number one team in the AFC East. Like, that's weird. I never thought that would happen. So I'm going to go with the Jets, Jets. But that whole New York is just overachieving as a whole. Like, I don't know. Like, New York football was bad for a while, and now, I mean, both teams are winning. You got alumni for the Jets actually showing up to games and posting pictures that they're there. Joe Namath was there.
Shout out to Braylon. Hey, but underachievers, Sam, the Rams all day. I mean, they basically got the same nucleus other than OBJ, but then they add.
Hey, that's the next
Allen
question,
Robinson.
man. You can't jump the gun.
They still can't get it.
You got to wait for the clock
I thought
to end.
we were doing over and under because we got
we
6
just did
seconds left.
over. We did both overs. Now it's unders.
Oh, my bad.
Spice, I know you got a thing coming up. Maybe you have to go, but I was going to ask you about the underachievers too. So the who do you say, the Rams?
The Rams.
Rams are your
Man,
underachiever?
you got the best defensive player in the world on your team. Then you got Aaron Donald, and you got Leonard Floyd. You basically have the same team that was in the Super Bowl, who won the Super Bowl, and you can't get it done. Like, y'all lost Von Miller, okay. Y'all lost OBJ, okay. Y'all lost Robert Woods, okay. But other than that, y'all still got the same nucleus. So why aren't y'all winning these games? McVay, what is going on? They are really underachieving right now. I really thought that they were gonna make some noise, and they haven't been. They look like when you give Superman the kryptonite, and then all his powers is just like, oh, I don't know if I can fly anymore. I don't know if I could use my eye laser. Like, it looked like Incredible Hulk and Thanos show up. That's what the Rams look like.
Incredible Hulk.
Did you see how terrible Incredible Hulk looked when Thanos show up? Oh, it's embarrassing.
He was with them for a minute, and then he took the L. I'm going to go my underachieving team. Both, I got two. One, it's just kind of because it's annoying at this point. The Denver Broncos, because Russell Wilson did all this Let's Ride stuff. Sierra out there making TikToks and stuff. And, they thought this was going to be, the Seahawks 2.0. No, they are the Sea Chickens 2.1. Like, they are horrible. I don't know if it – and then you got RG – if RG3 is coming to defend Russell Wilson and get into a fight with Shady McCoy, like – all hell has broken loose at this point in Denver. Like, I never would have had that on my bingo card. RG3 has to defend Russell Wilson and fight Shady McCoy. Like, What is going on? But my main one for me, as John Madden would say, the Raiders, or Chris Berman, I think, said it that way. Yeah, Chris Berman said it. The Raiders. Like, you got Derek Carr, who got you to the playoffs last year. You added Devontae Adams. You have Darren Waller. You got Josh Jacobs. You got Max Crosby. You got a solid defense. You have a really good offense. You have weapons. And you are not winning games at all. I mean, you look at the stats from the receiving core. Darren Waller, 16 receptions, 175 yards. He's only been in the end zone one time. Now, Devontae Adams, 5 touchdowns, but you're not winning games. Like, you made all these comments about I'm playing with a guy that's just as good as Aaron Rodgers, and now you're pushing cameramen down. Like, that to me is an underachieving moment. Like, you knocked a camera guy down and he pressed charges on you. So, hey, it is what it is. Raiders are underachieving, but I think they can get it going again. I love Devontae Adams. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. But I want to thank Spice
has
Adams.
been up like 30 seconds ago.
Hey, man, look, you calm down. I want to thank Spice Adams.
Damn, some people don't follow the rules. I'm sick of it.
You jumped out there and answered the question before we were supposed to go, man. Like, calm down. So, I want to thank Spice Adams for joining me on the Ron Johnson Show. I want to thank Sam Ekstrom, Matt DeBritz for running the keys back there. Spice has to get over with Taylor Rook and get something going. Tell Taylor I said, hey. When you subscribe to Locked On Sports Minnesota, you're getting endless Vikings talk with local experts. Subscribe to the free Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast feed wherever you find your podcast, and find our videos on Locked On Sports Minnesota's YouTube channel. And also, Roku, Amazon Fire, download the Locked On Sports Minnesota app. You can watch all our videos. Have a great day.